That's weird. That's weird. Kind of weirding me out.
You are a sad, strange little man.
Crazy. This is crazy. Isn't that weird?
That's weird, man.
It's strange.
What's up, campers? Welcome back to episode 204 of Camp Strange. This is your camp counselor, Alex Tobin.
And I'm your other camp counselor,
He's got nothing in that brain of his.
Walter Pinkman.
There we go. I like that. And we're back to bring the spooky, wacky, weird, strange, and Mount Saint Helen.
Yeah, I'm glad that's good.
But
Yeah,
before we do, we got to catch up on any of the weird news you may have missed. And David, I have quite a news story here for you.
All right, prove it.
Young man offers drugs and alcohol to monkey and is arrested in Paraiba.
So that's illegal?
This is where is this? Where's Paraiba?
Peru.
Is it?
I don't know. I made that up.
City of De Mayo. Oh my God, where is this? Oh, I think it's in Brazil. Is this in Brazil?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Portuguese. Yeah. Okay. Brazil. This article reads, image shows, there's a video attached. It says, image shows the animal visibly altered to the sound of reggae music while smoking marijuana and drinking alcohol next to the suspect. I still don't see an issue
And
with this.
they arrested him for it? This sounds like the coolest thing I've ever seen.
So
maybe it was so cool that's why they arrested him. They were jealous.
Exactly. Yeah, president was like he's going to win he's going to win if he runs. I have to assassinate him. So,
yeah.
18-year-old man was arrested after he published a video on social media offering like the monkey going to say no, the monkey's all vibes. Offering drugs and alcohol to a marmoset monkey. I don't know if you know what a marmoset is.
Yeah, yeah.
They're very tiny.
Yeah, they're tiny little things.
Yeah, so
they have like the crazy hair and like the bald face, right?
Does this one
sometimes?
Yeah, kind of.
It's like the most common one that like celebrities have as pets.
No, this one's really tiny. Type in marmoset.
Yeah, it's like a squirrel size, isn't it?
I think so.
Even smaller.
Oh my God, this thing is so fucking cute. These things are so... Yeah, they do have, like, the crazy scientist hair on the side of their heads.
Yeah.
Yeah. These are awesome monkeys.
Can we just have those, like, living in America?
Around?
Like
I'm just going to, I'm going to release them into, like, Grand Central Park. Wait, what's the fuck? Is that the name of the park in New York? How am I so stupid? What the fuck?
I was thinking about this the other day. I almost texted you with a question saying, like, how much legal problem do you think I would actually get in if I were to go get like 200 monkeys and just like release them in like the biggest forested area near me?
They would probably like fine you hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Aside from what I just said, how would they know it was me?
Monkeys talk.
Because
guess what?
Strong together.
Because guess what? If you don't keep that weed and alcohol flowing into that jungle, guess who they're going to?
Yeah, I mean, the first
cops.
thing I'm going to teach them to farm, you know?
Yeah. Teach them to grow weed and make moonshine out in the forest?
Can't be that hard.
Sounds sick. So this guy handed, like, this in this video, he hands the marmoset the joint. The thing doesn't even know how to hit it.
Oh my God!
The shit was cherry, and it didn't.
Oh my God! We would have roasted his ass. You know what I mean? Like, oh man.
He was actually just chewing on the end of it, which is actually kind of funny, and that's why I find the whole thing funny because I bet the marmoset did not smoke weed, and the marmoset probably did not drink a significant. It probably like licked the alcohol and was like, "That's not water," and they're like. Yeah. They're like, oh, you're going to prison. But the funny thing, it's not funny. It is funny because the marmoset's fine. But it says, according to the civil police, the man not only offered the substance to the primate, but also stated that he did not fear the authorities and insinuated that he could kill the animal.
That he could kill the animal? Like, he's like basically being like, well, if I want to, I could have just stepped on it.
Yeah,
okay.
think so.
That's a bold move, but okay.
Yeah, I was like, okay. But yeah, so the young man got charged with animal abuse and mistreat, crime punishable by 2 to 5 years in prison, in addition to a fine and a ban on owning animals. I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, probably a good move.
Yeah, but like, I don't know, man. Like, when are monkeys like allowed to smoke weed and drink alcohol? Because that's a good
question.
They not living like till 21, right? I don't know how long a monkey lived, but like in
It's
monkey
always different,
years,
I think.
Yeah,
monkey years. That's a good
when
question.
the monkey's like 6, like is it then allowed to smoke weed?
It's a what's it? A marmoset?
A marmoset. Yeah, how long do marmosets live for?
Let's look at this. Look at this.
Because like Willie
Marmoset
Nelson, he's still alive, so I feel like if you
lifespan.
keep giving them weed, they're gonna live longer.
But that
That's
could
a
also be a
fact. That's-
problem.
That's
So a pygmy marmoset can live to be 12 years old.
okay. So we need to adjust for inflation.
Yeah. Give it to him when he's 3.
2, a 3.
Yeah, 3. I mean,
Okay.
all the 2-year-olds are going to be getting their older brothers to buy it
Yeah,
anyways, you know?
yeah, that's true. They're gonna be smoking like fig leaf and pretending they're
Oh, yeah.
high. You know?
Yeah, some oregano.
Yeah, they're gonna be drinking juju berries. They have to have the fermented berry until
Okay,
they can get
yeah.
their hand on Fireball. I'm gonna rock this monkey's world when I feed it
Or, like-
Fireball.
Some Mad Dog 2020.
I gave a monkey a buzzball and it blew up. You say mad dog? That like
Mad Dog
bright
2020, man.
those colors don't exist in nature
No, it's not
or
natural.
they don't even make those colors. You know, like when you watch The Price is Right and it's like booger green and like throw up yellow and like burnt orange, and you're like, these colors just
is?
don't. The set of like the 70s Prices, the 80s,
I mean,
like
that's just
Bob
the
Barker era.
Yeah, they love that.
But I just mean, I watch it and I go, those colors don't like exist in pop culture anymore. You don't see them anywhere. Like that shade of green does not exist anymore. And I feel like that's what Mad Dog did with their colors. They're like that neon blue that like
Yeah.
I've never really had Mad Dog, but it's
You're
iconic
missing
for
out, bud.
underage drinkers. Malt liquor, right?
Oh yeah,
Horrid. Anyway,
Pretty bad.
you got a news story?
of course. Kamala Harris locks up critical Juggalo vote with major clown posse endorsement.
Can I get a whoop whoop?
Whoop whoop.
No, I saw that too.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, Violent J. I think it was. He didn't even know how to say her name. So I think it's like many Americans' votes where he's just saying anybody but Donald J. Trump. But
it's funny. Towards the end of like this political race, I every time I turn on the news, there's like a new thing that like both candidates are doing, and I feel like they're just fucking blatantly lying at this point. They're
that's all it is.
they're like, if Kamala becomes president, she says you can give weed to monkeys. Like, I feel like she's like promising.
That locked down my vote.
Yeah, and like Donald Trump is like, they're like both promising shit that I'm like, you guys aren't gonna. What did I see that I was like, what the fuck? Like, why are you promising that? That is so weird. It was like some random ass thing. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it just makes me laugh every single time. I'm like, oh my god, like everyone's just. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. Every presidential candidate just like lies out their lies
Every
through their teeth
politician.
until they become president. Yes, until they become president, and then they're like, well, I'm not like doing that shit. I told you I was gonna. I'm not gonna cancel student loans. I'm not gonna build a wall and make Mexico pay for it. Like nobody does any of the shit. You know, it's like okay,
No.
cool. They just get all
No,
people riled up.
But we should take this moment to remind people to do your research and vote, please.
You should vote, and
It's your duty.
if it's not Shaggy Too Dope and Violent J telling you to vote, it's these two clowns. So
Exactly.
you should do it because the clown community loves democracy.
Honestly, that's like
it is a big get.
That's a big win.
They
That's
control the Juggalo army, the family as they call themselves.
Yeah.
They take up, they walk amongst us. Dude, I didn't fucking tell you.
Okay, I'm excited.
Okay, I went up to, as David knows, Lake Arrowhead for a bachelor party this last weekend.
I
And
was invited. I just couldn't make it.
Yeah, okay. No, he actually was. But Scott and I went to go find ping pong balls. We couldn't find ping pong balls anywhere. So we pull up to this gas station or grocery store or whatever. We get out, full face paint, 18-year-old kid fucking juggaloed out the wazoo, man. Out the Fago.
It could have been a Halloween costume.
I don't think it was because it was like middle of the day on like a Friday.
Okay.
And he was casually just like standing by his car. And like I would say it was like a costume, but like the fit matched the face. He had like the big baggy black pants, black sweatshirt. And I was like, I feel like if people are going to go, if they're going to go Juggalo costume, they're going to be rocking the Juggalo shirt. Like, no, this guy was rocking like his normal clothes and he just happened to have. What?
He had like an Echo shirt on.
Oh, is that the Rhino?
Yeah.
He has some chunky DCs.
It's some Janko jeans, baby.
Honestly, they might have been Jankos, but with the chain
what's crazy
wallet.
is that like Jankos now are more expensive than they were back then.
Oh yeah, dude.
Because now
they're
they're like
cyclical. They're in again.
And, yeah.
Yeah. But I was just like, dude, Scott was like, if I had my film camera, I would ask him to go take a picture right now. That is like so sick. I've never seen a juggalo in the wild.
The commitment. You don't have to enjoy what the commitment's about, but to see that commitment is just captivating.
Like small mountain town, 18-year-old kid, like clearly he's like, fuck this, I want to get out of here. But just the face paint
he wants to go to Reno,
good.
Baby. He wants to escape to Reno.
But the face paint was fucking good. I was like, respect. I liked it.
Yeah,
anyway.
I guess my only other counter argument was like Saturday, like the next day of that week, I had borderline Juggalo face paint on.
Oh yeah, you did.
Yeah, we went out. We had a Halloween party, and then we went out to some bars afterwards. And then I had the quick realization that it was October 19th, not that close to Halloween itself. And people were staring at me. I scared the shit out of a lady. You know when like you're at a bar or you're at like a restaurant, and there's a bathroom, and it like doesn't have like the locked, like it doesn't tell you if it's locked or not. Because like, you know, sometimes they have those ones that like has like the red or the green, like occupied, not occupied.
Were you hiding in the women's bathroom again?
No, it was a shared bathroom, and I went to grab the handle, and as I was like 3 inches from grabbing the handle to see if it was locked, a lady opens the door, and I'm standing there with a skeleton shirt and pants, with my face painted like a skeleton, and she screamed so loudly, and then immediately like laughed and was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, you just scared me." Like,
but what's a shared bathroom?
it's just a genderless bathroom.
Like it's a single,
just like a single.
It's
toilet.
a room with a toilet in it.
Yeah, there's
okay.
no men or women sign on it.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, your face paint was it was good, but it started running
really
towards
good.
the mouth. How do the juggalos keep it so tight? Like your face paint, like after a couple of those beer sips, I saw your mouth start
Part of
becoming
my
a little
problem
more.
Part of my problem was definitely the facial hair, because the mustache would get some drink in it, and then it would dribble.
Yeah.
And I was also told afterwards that I shouldn't have painted the beard, but I did.
No, you have to paint the beard.
I also I fucked around with it a lot. Like I did it once, and it was like so thick and shiny, and I didn't like it. And so then I took a little sponge, and I was kind of like moving it around, so it got a little thinner, not so shiny, but then it got a little more blurry.
You be at the end of it, you're looking like one of those fucking the henchmen in the new Robert Pattinson Batman movies.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was looking like. It took almost 3 days to get it out of my facial hair.
Yeah.
Good time. I will do it again in a heartbeat. Surprisingly, didn't get the paint like everywhere. I thought I was gonna like.
That's good.
Wake up and be like, oh fuck, I gotta clean this and that and this and that. I did a good job.
Wait, you fell asleep with that shit on your face?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I just mean like in passing, because I'm always like hitting my face on things. So like,
did that woman walk out of the bathroom with paint all over her?
what are you trying to say? I'm a
Did you motorboat
married
this
man.
lady?
I'm a happily
That-
married man. You animal.
Why'd she scream? Why'd she scream?
Because if it's October 19th and you're leaving a bathroom and a ghoul is trying to get into the door at the same time, I think it's a justified scream.
You like a 90-year-old woman walks out with like messy face paint. Like she's not in costume, but she has like black and white face paint all over.
We get what
around
we
her
get.
mouth.
We get it.
You fucked that 9-year-old. There you go. Okay, cool. Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, we got it.
Okay.
We get this
good.
weird fetish scenario you're painting for everybody.
Goes to Pornhub. Clown and 90-year-old have rough, dirty sex in bathroom. That's normal. People will do
It's
that.
normal. Yeah, I mean, you start typing it and it auto like fills it out.
It
That's
does
how
auto
popular
fill.
it is. Yeah.
Maybe they put brother clown and sister 90-year-old. You know, these fucking freaks. Anyway, so I got another one right here. Walmart employee found dead inside walk-in bakery oven.
I saw that. That's sad.
I even read this article. Damn, 19-year-old.
Yeah.
Walk-in bakery oven. Okay, so I used to work in a grocery store in the bakery department. I know exactly what those things are, and I know exactly how tempting it is to walk in to one of them.
So are you not supposed to walk into it at all?
I just think they want probably it's not like big it's almost like it's retrofitted on the side, so like you have these bakery racks that have like slats on the sides kind of sticking out, so like when you slide it in, it's like a big roller on wheels and you slide it in, and then there's like tiers where you could put like the baked goods, and then once it slides in, it kind of locks in perfectly to the side, so like it won't move out or anything. So there's not like it's not. You can't even go in if you wanted
like
to.
a door.
Yeah, it's not like you could get on the wrong side of it and you're like, oh no, I accidentally walked in. Like, it only fits a rack, but if there's no rack in there, you could stand in there. So I don't know why anybody would be in there in the first place. If I had to guess, it's probably just messing around. And
Well,
then,
I thought I saw that she had gotten like crushed at one point, so maybe she got pulled in. Like maybe a sleeve got caught and she got pulled in.
No, I don't think, I mean, hey, technology is advancing like crazy. Maybe there is a taffy puller in there now that grabbed her by the sleeve. But it says,
Well, I'm just
the
thinking
woman who's
when
employed
you
at
go
the
to
store.
I'm just thinking when you go to Costco and they've got the chickens and it's like kind of like a double rotisserie that's like on a track that goes in like a loop as it's spinning.
Yeah, that they don't do that with any baked goods, I don't think, especially at Walmart.
But
I don't think Walmart's doing that, but
You don't know, man. You didn't work at Walmart. You don't know what situation they got going on.
it's true. I would
Also,
love to
you have
know,
to have
like,
there has to be a door for cleaning. You have to be able to get inside and clean it, right?
True. God, do you even
Maybe
have
she was trying to clean
those?
it.
Let me see. Bakery walk-in oven. I don't think all the articles. Okay, yeah. So if you look at these, they're pretty haunting looking. They look like they're designed to like put somebody inside and kill them. But if you look, there's like the racks that I'm talking about. If you Google it, it's like usually you just like slide a rack in and then it bakes everything on this like multi-tiered tower, and then you just slide it out. And there's no like, I just don't get how somebody would go inside. If somebody was cleaning it, I get it. But it's like, it's still just like, oh my God, there's a picture of the girl. That's really sad. It's okay. I thought this was going to be more funny. Anyway, yeah, just don't go in those, you guys.
Yeah,
Don't
typically not a good idea.
Smoke weed with the monkeys in the forest, and don't crawl in the oven. It's like that. What's that movie with M. Night Shyamalan, The Visit? She's like, can you clean the oven? All the way in the back. And the grandma like tries to like shove her in the oven.
I don't think I saw that one.
It's not good.
Most of them
some
are.
people liked it. I did not. Anyway. Do you have another news story? to
I
move on
do.
from this fucking sadness.
Yeah, don't worry, it's another death. Kentucky State Senator Johnny Turner dies after plunging into empty swimming pool on his lawnmower.
It's kind of cool.
It's a good way to
Damn,
go.
he had a he had a riding lawnmower, huh?
I'm assuming it says on lawnmower.
Do you know why he emptied his pool? Does it say?
It really didn't give any information. I actually read this one. It did not give like any information on like, you know, did he fall asleep behind the wheel and just keep rolling in? It didn't really say what happened. It just said that he was on his lawnmower and he crashed into an empty pool and passed away.
Probably playing Candy Crush.
Probably playing Candy Crush.
Then he got crushed. Not funny. Sorry. I'm sorry.
No, it's cool.
But yeah, that's those. God damn. I hope it was the crush that killed him and not like the lawnmower flipping the wrong way and like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like landing on top of him blade first.
I think he like died hours later from injuries, so it wasn't like immediate.
Oh, really? Hey, that's another M. Night Shyamalan death. That shitty movie, The Happening. Remember when that guy lays down in front of the riding lawnmower?
Yeah, I got kicked out of that movie for laughing too loud.
You did not. I go see that movie in
did.
theaters. Did
Yeah.
you actually?
Yeah, it was high school.
Dude, I saw Trapped. Trap? That Shyamalan one with Hartnett?
How was
Honest-
that?
One of the funniest experiences I've had in a movie. It was like laughably
You
bad.
saw it in a theater.
Yeah. People were fucking laughing. I'm not like here to like shit on him because I kind of like some of his stuff. It's enjoyable to watch, but it's enjoyable if like you sit with some friends and you're like, what the fuck is this dialogue? As somebody described it, it felt like AI wrote the dialogue. It was like so
Possible.
stilted and weird. No, I think he's just kind of a weird director now. Anyway, but well, that sucks. I'm sorry, that guy.
Well, what was your rating of the movie?
Like a fucking 3 out of 10.
Woof.
I'll give it a 4 out of 10. It's like
Oh, okay.
entertaining, but it's not a good movie. That's the problem. It's like it's like The Room type shit. It's not as bad as The Room, but it's just like, what is this? I like can't figure out what they're trying to do here.
You
Weird
watched
shit.
that? You watched that? Is it Coppola?
Oh my god, Megalopolis.
Yeah,
I haven't seen it yet.
I have seen clips of it on like TikTok or whatever.
You saw the
and,
John
like,
Voight clip
I don't
with
know
the
what's that
arrow?
name. Yes, the one
Is
with the
when he
arrow.
has the
saw that one.
He has the boner. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Might be one of the most insane looking movies I've ever seen clips of. I have no fucking idea what the movie's about. But that looks like a treat.
Somebody was talking about how it was supposed to be like something about like Rome and like the man that like was like one of the main architects of Rome, and it was like a metaphor or an allegory for that or something. I mean, so I guess some of their names are very like Roman or I forget. I haven't seen anything about it, but I tried to go see it and it was like one showing at like 11 p.m. and the movie's like 3 hours long. And I was like,
Yeah.
is the movie theater even open this late? Like, what the fuck?
You gotta lock the door if you're last one out.
I think halfway through the movie, the guy walks in and throws you the fucking big ring of keys and just goes, lock up, to turn off the soda machine when you leave. Like, what the fuck? Anyway, I gotta see that movie. It looks horrible.
Yeah, definitely not gonna go to a theater for it, but make a
No.
drink.
I did see
or something.
I did see Terrifier 3 in theaters.
Oh, how was that?
Holy
It was
shit.
as good as the first two.
Yeah, I mean I like those movies. They're not like, once again, they're not like amazing movies, but like I explain it as like it's so cool to see something that should not be in movie theaters.
Yeah.
It's like it's a relic. If you like, you're like, it's an unrated movie that should not have been released. Like I read this article where it's like unrated movies do not get released in theaters because apparently it's like there's very strong limitations on being able to advertise for unrated movies. But now with social media, and this is like a third one in a series, it's like
it's cult classics.
yeah, it pulled like more than $30 million in it's a crazy phenomenon that was not supposed to happen. It beat out like Joker in terms of box office, which is nuts.
I think
and
everything
honestly,
did.
that's true. It was one of the most like crazy violent movies I've ever seen. It's like fun, but like you really have to be into that kind of like absurdist gore,
Yeah.
like Chris Jericho. Like there's a couple like funny cameos. Clint Howard is in it.
Don't ruin it.
These are not ruined. They're not like gigantic.
Is Deadpool in it?
Deadpool's in it.
Is Gambit in it?
Oh, I'm about to make a name for myself with this clown. But yeah, it was a very entertaining movie, but wild as fuck.
Since you brought it up, I have to ask. You know what other movie outsold Joker 2 in its opening weekend?
Probably some like alt-right weird like child kidnapping movie where they said Democrats don't care about sex trafficking.
Morbius. Morbius did better in the opening weekend than Joker 2.
Well, Leto has the cult members to go fill the seats.
It's true.
Put those meat in the seats. And plus, his boyish charm, you know?
Yeah.
So
That 50-year-old man.
Yeah,
that 50-year-old boy.
He's
a 50-year-old boy.
He's a 50-year-old boy with some nice abs, with his vampire abs. I don't want to see lanky, sweaty Joaquin kicking down the stairs to Gary Glitter. I need Morbius drinking. I need him drinking blood bags like a Capri Sun.
Yeah.
You know?
Give me more of that. Morbius 2, Return
More
of the Morbin.
Morbius.
Morbin time.
Yes, I agree.
More BS. Morbin time. No, I mean, as far as entertainment goes, I can't recommend enough the show From.
Oh,
I told you about it.
Yes, I haven't seen it yet.
It's a very, if you guys like Lost and you like horror, like the old TV show Lost, it's the same people that made Lost, and it's horror and it's good.
J.J. Abrams?
I don't think it's the same.
It's like other writers and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'll check it out. It looks good.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, movie corner, I guess, is done now. Now we got story corner because we got to catch you. We got to catch you up on these stories. I got stories for you, okay, people. And
Scariest
David,
Scariest stories.
The creature.
Is the creature?
The creature is in this. Yep, he is in this. How old do you think the creature is?
As far as social media goes, I feel like that genre is the closest thing to what we do here.
Yeah. The scariest stories. A man goes to the bathroom. He looks down to go pee in the toilet. And he goes, "Where's my peanuts?" The creature ate it. You're like, what the fuck is this?
You didn't
What is
mispronounce
happening?
enough words. But yeah.
I know. I couldn't even. It takes artistic integrity to get
It
that.
does. It's hard to
structure
it's hard to do on the fly.
structure those fucking TikToks that bad. It's obviously purposeful, and I feel like it just takes an unhinged mind, which I like. So, anyway, okay, let's get into these stories. Now, David, here at Camp Strange, we've covered hundreds of creatures, cryptids, and ghoulies, and ghosts. But there has always been one that stood tall on the mountain as this. What the fuck did I write, man? I just need to get like the wheels rolling. That's the problem.
You get like a little theme song that plays. For
Oh,
3
that's
seconds
right.
Every time you say, "What the fuck did I write?"
Like it's the technical. Oh, I thought it was like the technical difficulties things that pops up on the TV.
Yeah, you could do that too.
Sorry, I made up a word. That's why I got confused. There's always been one that has stood tall on the mountain as the spokes creature for cryptids. The cryptid that not only captured all of our hearts here in America, but also captured the crown in the Monsters of Camp MASH battle we held about a year ago. That's right. I'm talking about the man of many names, Sasquatch, Yeti, or as we know him, Bigfoot. No, David, I'm not just doing a Bigfoot story. David has a flashlight underneath his chin trying to scare me like the creature. Fucking stop. So I'm not covering just Bigfoot because although today we think of the giant beast as a loner, as a last of its kind, lurking between the shadows of the American PNW, Pacific Northwest, for those who don't acronym. But what if I told you that 100 years ago, there were many of the mythical monster. Not too many, but enough to face off against the group of mountain men at Mount Saint Helens. As today, I tell you the tale of the battle at Ape Canyon. I can't believe
Oh, man.
you've never heard this, dude.
I can't believe I didn't tell it.
This is so up your alley. I was like very happy to steal this from you because you get all the Bigfoot content.
One of these days, we should write each other's stories, and then we have to read them for the first time.
Oh, fuck. Speaking of like me trying to read the creature shit, I'd be like,
Yeah.
Cruncher. Anyway. So
I told you one time someone
this story takes it.
The old app I used to use for writing my stories, it got like someone hacked into it, and their VPN was in India. And so I just I like to imagine some guy in India trying to read like my notes, because I'd assume like it's a target because people probably like keep documents of like passwords in it. That makes sense to me. So that's probably why it was like a target. But it was just all of the things that I write for this, and I could just imagine him being like, "What the fuck is this?"
You're
like talking to myself, like asking questions with no answers, and then like continuing.
This guy's just like, why did he write nude oil painting of Guy Fieri?
Yeah, which I'm sure I probably wrote that down at one point.
It's on your present list. What do you want from Santa?
Yeah, you found my Santa list.
So, this story takes us to the small Washington town of Kelso back in 1924. Do you know Kelso?
I do know Kelso.
Okay. So, back in 1924, where the rowdy, isolated settlement earned the nickname Little Chicago from its rapscallion-like inhabitants that perpetuated the new notorious moniker. Miners and loggers flocked to the small town for trade and business, but more importantly, its many brothels and taverns. Whoa. You think this is why Oregon and like Washington have so many strip clubs? Just because they it comes from a long history of too many brothels?
It could be that. It could just be the weather and everybody's depressed all the time, but
yeah,
either or.
You go there in your makeup and they're gonna know who you got to dance with. Am I right? No touching, David.
Touching. I know. I know. No touching.
I'm not. Oh, can I touch you with my ghost hands? Okay, get this guy the fuck out of here. So on July 12th, 1924, 100 years ago, a group of 5 miners stumbled into one of the mentioned taverns, exhausted and terrified, explaining that they had nearly escaped death at the hands of so-called mountain devils. The men began to tell their story as onlookers gathered around to listen. All of the put tossed in details. What the fuck? All of them tossed in details and all of them tossed in details and explanations of what happened, but one man by the name of Fred Beck led the tale. This is the story he told. Apparently, the group of men had traveled into the Washington wilderness weeks prior to try and locate a fortune in the form of gold deposits. They quickly threw up a cabin-like structure. This kind of reminds me of what we talked about, the Headless Valley. Yeah. This was like a very common thing where like miners and gold miners and stuff would go out into the wilderness and just like build like a temporary structure. Yeah. But their shit was like
get brutally murdered.
Yes. But, like, these cabins are actually, like, I like how we're, like, temporary structure. And, like, you look at these places or, like, how people draw them, depict them. They look like straight-up sturdy-ass cabins. I would kill to have, like, the temporary structure that these, like, 1920 dudes built. Now we're, like, putting 2 IKEA shelves together and being like, let's call it a day. You know? That's a house. That's a fucking house.
It's a house.
So they quickly threw up a cabin-like structure by the foothills of the Lewis River as they worked panning for gold. But their work would not last for too long as they began to suspect that they were being watched from the shadows. Signs began to show up that they were not alone in the form of muddy footprints outside the cabin that sported 4 stubby toes and measured 14 inches in length. It wasn't enough to scare the men, if that wasn't enough to scare the men, some began to describe glances of bipedal humanoid giants about 7 feet tall lurking in the brush just beyond the tree line. So, on July 11th, just 3 days prior, that 5 men began to scale the nearby hills. Okay, this doesn't make sense. I say they end up on July 14th talking to the people, but this...
Yeah.
Anyway, there's not 3 days. This must have been a weird date disparity, but we'll
Days
just say
were shorter back then.
It's true.
Yeah.
You fell asleep for 3 days at a time. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So on July 11th, just 3 days prior, then 5 men began to scale the nearby hills to try their hand at a little gold hunting before the sun set on them. As they traveled up the hill, suddenly the mood changed as a grouping of 4 large, grotesque-looking creatures emerged from a ravine directly across the path from the miners. They were described as gorillas with thick, matted black hair and looking to weigh around 400 pounds each. When they spotted each other, both parties paused as they stared at the other. This wouldn't last long, as it wasn't long before one of the massive creatures lunged forward, making a threatening, roaring noise toward the men. Honestly, I couldn't think of anything fucking scarier. Like,
Yeah.
imagine
7 feet
if you-
running at you.
like, holy shit. So, in a moment of panic, Beck, the guy who was telling the story, fired his rifle at the beast, landing a hit on the 4th shot. As the advancing beast fell backwards and tumbled into the ravine it emerged from. The 5 men hauled ass back to the cabin as the remaining beasts began to roar and howl at their hurt friend. The men stopped to catch their breath as they felt, that they were far enough distance away. But it wasn't long before they began to notice more beasts emerging from the caves to the sounds of the beasts' screams. So they had backup.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the men quickly funneled into the cabin and began to board the windows and doors with leftover wood as they grabbed any weapon they could to defend themselves. It wouldn't be long after the final nail was hammered into that that the entire cabin was shaken off its foundation. Heavy and massive hits fell on the flimsy structure as more howls emanated from outside, now surrounding the men. Like, fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
One creature approached the boarded window, ripping off some boards before trying to climb inside the structure. One of the miners, named Roy, approached the beast and swung his axe at the intruder, but a large swat from the creature made the attack miss as Roy fell to the floor. Roy's father then drew his pistol and fired at the monster, sending it back from the window as it retreated. The window was quickly boarded up again, but the security did not last long as suddenly massive rocks and boulders began to break through the walls and ceiling of the weak cabin. They were just yeeting rocks from the hilltops above.
Love it.
So one of the rocks smashed through the ceiling, hitting Fred Beck in the head and rendering him unconscious for 2 hours. I feel like that's like a movie shit. That's like some...
This is eerily similar to my story, which is like cracking me up.
Whoa, really?
Kind of, but not really.
Okay. Well, before we started, I was like, David, what's your one word? And he was like, ridge. And I was like, oh no, is he going to do like somebody tossing rocks off a ridge? I was getting nervous. So this guy just got yeeted with the rock, passed out for 2 hours. When he woke up, the men were still hunched near the floor, firing shots through the holes in the ceiling whenever motion was detected. Classic horror movie, you know?
Mm-hmm.
As sunlight began to peek through the holes in the building's exterior, dawn finally arrived as the howling stopped. The men checked through the boarded windows at the hillside, but there was nothing watching anymore. The men quickly grabbed their belongings and raced to the small town of Kelso. 2 of the men listening to the story happened to be park rangers, which I didn't know they had back in 1924. It makes sense, but... So they're just 2 of the guys were park rangers at the bar.
Like, national parks were like very, very early.
I know.
It was like Roosevelt established them, I think.
Honestly, it probably makes more sense to have them back then than now. It's like I bet there's so many
Save
more
them while
national
they're
parks.
good.
Yeah, exactly. So, 2 park rangers were listening, and after a few offered drinks, so they offered drinks to all the miners. The miners agreed, and they
offered
took,
drinks to the miners.
probably a miner. So Beck took the 2 park rangers back to the cabin to see the evidence or possibly spot one of the mountain devils. When the men arrived, the rangers were aghast at the sight they saw. The roof was completely smashed in, the furniture inside was disassembled, and the floor was riddled with shell casings and rocks. But there was no sign of the beasts. The only thing they left behind being massive footprints pressed into the wet mud outside the cabin. As the years went on, people began to come out of the woodwork to discredit the tale, saying that it was a rowdy group of other miners throwing rocks down on the cabin, or that the footprints could be replicated by hand. But Fred Beck, the guy who told the story at the bar, held strong with his beliefs, even stating years later that he believed the creatures to be highly intelligent, interdimensional beings. How does somebody from 1924 just drop interdimensional being? Like,
that is impressive.
That feels like a 50s thing, like when aliens became like more of a thing. Like, I had no idea this guy was like ahead of his time, you know?
Yeah, like when did what's his face come around? The guy who did like Cthulhu.
H.P. Lovecraft.
Yeah,
Ooh,
I feel like
he might have been. Let me see.
I feel like he
might have
created that idea.
Yeah, I guess like when did we learn about multiple dimensions? He was born in 1890, died in 1937, so that's probably his prime. This guy was a big HP fan.
Yeah,
He had the
Google
washer,
what
the
HP
dryer,
named
the
his cat.
dishwasher.
Never Google what HP.
Was it a
Lovecraft's.
slur? Was it a
was a
slur? I had a
It was-
feeling.
It was a slur.
We know what some of his writing's all about. We have a feeling. So, he believed them to be highly intelligent interdimensional beings. Fred began to track and compare Sasquatch sightings in the U.S. and Yeti sightings in the Far East, claiming that these attacks were co-coordinated global incursions from beings from a parallel universe. I like that theory.
I mean, I'm not against it.
Some people also believe that the Yetis, or like Sasquatch, are Yetis that passed over on the Bering Land Strait between Alaska and Russia, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Frozen tundra, I get it.
Yeah, they're just sunnier Yetis.
Yeah, I feel like Yetis are like blue and white, and Sasquatch are like brown and
Flesh.
brown,
Like
yeah,
white,
monkey colored.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just like a Bigfoot like purist, so I like to think that Yetis are just Bigfoots that went to the snow.
Yeah, when all the snow melted off, they're like, oh, their fur's actually brown.
Yeah.
Not white. So, although Fred's beliefs are out there about this global incursion, co-coordinated global incursion from a parallel universe, others have very strong beliefs that these creatures are prehistoric animals who have happened to survive this long without contact. Others believe that they are human tribes who turned to cannibalism and evolved into these creatures over time. But in reality, we may not ever know unless you go to the cabin at the base of Mount Saint Helens and spend the night. Then you might be able to get some answers, but only if you live long enough to tell someone else. So it's kind of a quick. I got a quick one for you today.
Whoa, that's a record.
I know.
That caught me off
Can you?
guard.
I just found it, and the thing about I usually pick very dense, heavy stories, but like these folklore ones where they're just an incident. Like I was like,
yeah,
this
it's
is
hard to
fun.
do.
Yeah,
it's hard to stretch it out.
I didn't need to stretch it out. I felt good about that. I was like, you know what? I want to give them a nice palate cleanser. I usually go on these long diatribes. I'm going to keep it clean today. You know,
people might actually stay awake for my half.
They're like, oh fuck, I usually turn off the podcast by this point.
They're like, wait, there's another guy after him. All right,
Don't worry,
gentlemen.
we're telling the same story again. Apparently,
Yeah, no, don't worry because mine's a bit longer.
Okay.
All right, Tobin. Have you ever had the urge to move to the middle of nowhere and turn your back on society, becoming ungovernable to live out the rest of your days however you want to live?
ungovernable. You can't be a
Yeah.
governor anymore
Nah, it means the governor can't touch you.
with his ghost hands. He can.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think about that like every other week.
Yeah. Well, today's story is about a man and his family who wanted to do just that. This is the story of the Ruby Ridge accident.
Wait,
Are you
Ruby
familiar with
Ridge?
this one? Yeah.
Ruby Ridge sounds kind of familiar. Where's that?
It's a pretty famous story.
Okay.
It's in Idaho.
It might also be like a spot in Game of Thrones.
It sounds like it.
The Ruby River, where that's the Trident, but it's
That's
known
a
as,
river.
Yeah, you make a good point.
To be fair, though, I'm pretty sure this plot of land sits at Ruby River,
Okay,
like the Ruby Ridge is above Ruby River.
Ruby
River.
River. Yeah,
Ruby
good
River.
on you. Ruby Roo.
So Wendy Weaver, Randy Reaver. God damn, I didn't mean to do it that time. Randy Weaver.
Wendy's wiener.
Hey, I had a speech impediment as a child, and I couldn't pronounce R's.
Sometimes I get a Randy wiener.
Good one. So Randy Weaver was a college dropout and served in Vietnam as a Green Beret.
Damn.
A Green Beret is a member of the United States Army Special Forces. This group is known as some of the hardest motherfuckers in our military. The cream of the crop. Yeah. Don't touch me, motherfucker.
You're dressed in his green. The only problem is I just don't like their hats that they're named after.
I could never pull off a beret. I could never do it.
Too French for my liking. You know how I feel about the French.
Yeah, don't get me started on French. So yeah, they're the cream of the crop. The men and women that we use in what is called unconventional warfare. The baddest of badasses. Randy and his wife Vicky were religious fundamentalists who, after his time in the deep clearance of the military, decided to turn his back and distrust the government after what he saw through his time being in the military. So, like, one thing I didn't realize, like, Green Berets have access to like classified, like, secret intelligence. Like, they can know about shit that, like, we don't, which I get, like, a lot of the military does, but I think they have, like, clearance on, like, very, very secretive shit. Like, they might
They're
know
like,
about
the government's like, this guy is like one of the strongest dudes you ever met, and they're like, give him all the files. And like, does that qualify him? They're like, he could do 1,000 push-ups. I'm like, yeah, but like, I feel like we're giving it to like this information to scientists, and they're like, this guy's really fucking strong and he's a good fighter, and you're like, I just don't see how does that qualify for a clearance? And they're like, just give it to him. He's gonna fucking kill us.
He can kill anybody with anything, so let's tell him everything.
It's like that scene in Riddick where he's in that prison compound and he puts the cup on. He puts the cup on the rock and the guy comes at him and he takes the cup and like smashes it on the rock and serrades it and then shoves it into his chest, and then everyone's like, whoa, and then he takes like a little like tiny pin and he puts it on the rock and everybody runs away.
And then he takes his glasses off and he has blue eyes.
And he takes his glasses off and he goes, on this planet the sun burns us for family.
Where's my Hemi? Where's my diesel truck?
Yeah, he should have had a diesel in there.
I need my V12 Shelby.
Is that what he drives? Or you just say words?
I don't think V12s exist. They might actually.
Hemi.
I don't know enough.
I need another Hemi in this car.
Double the Hemi. Give me 3 Hemis.
Double the Hemi and give it to the next person.
So the Weavers decided that the best thing they could do was to move far from anyone and live in a recluse. That's a typo. Live a recluse lifestyle, and get off the grid. In 1984, Randy, Vicky, and their children moved to a cabin that they had built overlooking Ruby Creek in Idaho. Not Ruby River,
I
Ruby
don't.
Creek.
No, this story's bad. I don't like it anymore.
Yeah, you're over it. This property was so secluded that they decided to not even have electricity or running water installed to ensure that they were completely disconnected from society and like government. Like they weren't trying they weren't trying to pay their water or electricity bills. They're like, nah, fuck.
Yeah, I get that. And you know what? Now I'm realizing it's not even a Ruby Creek. It's a Ruby Crick. That's a crick.
Oh, yeah, that's probably a crick. So, over time, Randy got himself into some bad daddy activities, such as threatening the life of our president, Ronald Reagan, and other government officials. It's never a good move. Well, you know, that typically doesn't go over very well.
Was this after Reagan got shot or before Reagan got shot?
That's a good question. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not entirely sure, or
was it
wasn't
him?
very clear. I wasn't very clear on when he made the threat, or if it was just like he told someone at a bar and then they're like told the cops. Who knows?
I was about to say, I was like, how did he get this threat out there? Did he send it via carrier pigeon? Like, what the fuck?
He wrote it on a carrot.
He wrote it on a paper boat and sent it down the creek.
It came to shore in a glass bottle.
He had a tooth in there too.
Yeah.
Just to show that he meant business.
The FBI launched an investigation on Randy, and at this time there were no charges ever officially filed, but investigators documented that Randy had ties to the Aryan Nation. Bad daddy.
Oh no! Should have stuck with green over white, buddy.
Yeah, but you know what? That's just in the documentation. There was never any actual like evidence of that. So like that could have just been them trying to besmirch his name. So
he takes off his shirt. There's like a giant swastika on his back, and David's like, "That's like big in Indian culture."
In Japanese, that used to mean like peace and prosper.
He like bows, and you're like, "Okay, good. He's Japanese."
Yes. So in 1989, undercover ATF agents claimed Randy sold them illegal sawed-off shotguns and offered him the chance to become an informant in the Aryan Nation.
I have to ask too, why the fuck are sawed-off shotguns illegal, but shotguns aren't? Seems like it's a worse version of a shotgun.
No, it's simply because of concealment. It'd be very easy to put a sawed-off shotgun in your backpack and walk into a store and start blasting.
Okay, now we're gonna be on the fucking news.
That's simply it. It's just the fact that it's much smaller and easier to like move in secrecy.
Yeah, you dumbasses. I just put it in my backpack and I paint the barrel like the handle of a baseball bat.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say paint it orange like an airsoft gun.
Oh yeah, that too. I painted all the bullets orange as well. It's really cool.
Yeah. So if that was confusing, so basically ATF agents sold the agent. Randy sold the agents the sawed-off shotguns, and then the agents offered him to become an informant for the Aryan Nation. So
like they gave him an ultimatum?
No, they were just like, oh, hey, like, thanks for the weapons. Like, do you want to become an informant for the Nazi, like the skinheads? Wait,
I'm sorry. Let me back this up. So he doesn't know that they're ATF agents. He thinks that they. So who is he informing? He's informing on the Aryan Brotherhood?
Like, for them.
Oh.
like, finding out stuff for them and then like reporting to the area.
Oh.
But
I
that
see.
doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't matter because Randy refused he refused the tasty offer to work with the Aryan Brotherhood.
He's
But
Japanese.
when he did, he was indicted for making and keeping illegal weapons on his property. So after being released on bail, his trial was set for sometime in February in 1991, but his probation officer told him it wasn't until March 20th. So could have this been like a little like government being like, hey, tell him the wrong date so we can nail him on missing.
They're like, this
his
guy
court
pisses in a Coke bottle and like washes his dishes in the creek. Okay, he's not. He's
This
not.
guy
He does.
figured out.
He does
how
not
to
have a
truly
calendar.
live. We need him to come back to society so he can be miserable like everybody else.
They're like tell him that his court date's in March and tell him that they brought Frasier back. He'll never know.
They did.
They did.
So Randy missed his trial, being that he was told it was a completely different month after when it actually was, and a warrant was issued for his arrest. A grand jury indicted him for failing to appear at trial, but that wouldn't stop Randy. Attempts to negotiate with Randy by mail for over a year would fail and he would remain at large, hidden on his secluded property. The U.S. Marshal Service was now responsible for nabbing Randy the fugitive. Given Weaver's weapons arsenal, anti-government views, and Green Beret past, they knew he wouldn't go peacefully. Marshals planned a covert takedown to get intelligence and survey his land and see what the family was up to so they could move in and arrest Weaver.
I know Ruby Ridge.
Yeah.
It's a standoff.
Yeah.
Wait, yeah, I did.
Spoiler alert.
Sorry, I did see some like video. They have like a lot of video of this, don't they?
Yeah, I think they made a move. I think they made movies, several documentaries. Like it's a fairly
Yeah.
It's a bigger than normal story that at least I cover. Like usually I try not to do things that are well known. But I thought it was obscure enough that maybe not enough people would know about it. So surveillance began, and Weaver's family became more and more secretive. I think they knew that, like after getting all like the stuff in the mail, they're like, oh, they're probably going to be coming soon. So like, you know, let's be a little more sneaky.
Lock and load.
Yeah. And also at this time, Vicky had just given birth at the property. So newborn baby around.
Oh, there goes our deposit.
Yeah, the carpet stained. During their surveillance, they noted that the entire family would spend every day armed with firearms, including the newborn. I'm kidding. That was a joke.
I was like, I maybe like a little gun, a little one, just like a
Just
tiny
a little one.
Just give him a little one.
But with knowing the family was strapped, the surveillance team decided to settle in and do like a long watch. You know, they're along for a good old watch. They got the popcorn. They're hanging out in the trees. After spending a significant amount of time studying the area, Deputy Marshals Dave Hunt, Art Roderick, and Billy Deegan were confident in knowing the terrain. In the morning of August 21st, 1992, a team strapped up with guns and ghillie suits to approach the cabin to gather more intelligence or move in for the arrest if the opening presented itself. You know, they got his back to a big old bush. They're going to nab him up.
Mm-hmm.
As the men crawled around, one of the Weaver's family dogs became aware of the men and started barking and kind of like
snitch dog.
Yeah, let him know. And the deputy marshals shot and killed the dog. Unfortunately. But
Shit.
it was too late because their cover was blown. The Weavers opened fire on the deputy marshals, and a firefight broke out. Randy's 14-year-old son, Sammy, shot and killed Marshal Deegan before being gunned down himself by another marshal. So
Yeah,
it turned south very quickly.
That's what I remember is that, like, I think I'm not gonna say, and I'm gonna stop because I feel like I'm gonna spoil the story. I remember certain things, but I don't know where they happened or who they happened to. So continue. Actually,
the Weaver family retreated to their cabin, grieving Sammy, and started planning their next steps in this battle. On August 22nd,
that's a dangerous man right there.
Yeah. So they're in a cabin, surrounded. That's what I was saying, like, to your story. When
his kid's dead now. I mean, yes, his
14-year-old son is dead.
And his son killed a cop too. Like, I mean, I'm not saying it's like
killed a U.S. Marshal.
It's hard because it's like yeah, I know it's hard because it's like it's a 14-year-old, but like if
Guy's
somebody
in a ghillie suit.
Yeah, if somebody you're saying that the 14-year-old didn't know or like was acting on instinct and being like, what the hell's going on?
Well, I mean, I don't know if the kid knew it was going to be like a cop.
That's true. Maybe
he just knew that someone shot his dog and they're like dressed in a ghillie suit.
Yeah, and he has a paranoid ass dad who probably tells him every single night that people are gonna come kill him. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But
you reap what you sow,
I don't know.
I don't blame the kid at all. So on February 22nd, the FBI, under the impression that they were entering an active, unprovoked gunfight, arrived on Ruby Ridge. As hundreds of law enforcement officers and FBI agents surged into the surrounding area with orders to shoot any armed adult on sight. This included snipers to set up a perimeter. So there was just like tons of snipers in a circle around the cabin. The law tried to negotiate, but it was too late for that, as Randy wouldn't have any of it since his 14-year-old son was just killed. The law even brought in Randy's sister to try to get through to him, but he shrugged it off. So, like, mailed his sister in, gave her a megaphone, and he said, "Fuck off."
We saw the sister like Randy's like in the wrestling ring, and all of a sudden you hear like her theme music come on, and the sister
glass
like,
break,
running
the
in.
guitar riff.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, dun 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 dun, and the sister's like fucking stomping towards. He's like, nah. He gave her the chair.
Yeah,
send
he
her
bashed
right
her in the head with a chair.
Sent her right back beyond the curtain.
Why are they always storing chairs under the ring?
That's where the best place to store all the chairs is. A lot of chairs in there. You need to store them someplace.
Yeah. So Randy, unarmed, with his 16-year-old daughter, Sarah, and friend who I forgot to mention, who was there with them, Kevin Harris. So, like, he was just a friend hanging out. You know what? Kevin was a ride or die kind of guy. He was there for the long haul. The three of them decided they needed to move Sammy's body to a shed. As the three were mourning and peacefully walking, an FBI sniper, Lon Horichi, opened fire, saying he thought that they were trying to shoot down an FBI helicopter. Horichi shot and hit Randy on the arm, and the three stopped what they were doing and ran back to the cabin. Wounded, the law thought this would be a good time to make a move on the cabin. Approaching the cabin, Vicky stood behind the front door holding her infant daughter. Horichi fired again, and his shot hit Vicky in the face, instantly killing her. And while she was holding the baby, and the sniper round passed through Vicky's skull, striking Harris as well, seriously wounding him.
Damn, that's what I remember. Where it's like they killed the wife too, and I was like, oh my god, like.
Yeah. So later, Horichi claimed he didn't know Vicky was in the doorway and had his sights on Harris. So what I think, after I wrote this, I actually saw like courtroom photos. Mm-hmm. And I kind of think what it actually happened was that there were like curtains And I think she was standing there and they came running in and she like shut the door as they came in and like probably like turned her back. And he just saw a shadow through the curtains and just shot.
Yeah, and in the
Like, thinking it was
situation,
him.
you're like, yeah,
Like, I don't think he could actually see her. I think he just saw like maybe like a shadow or something.
But at the same time, I don't mean to be cold about this, but like if the 14-year-old son just killed one of your coworkers, it's like,
Yeah.
why wouldn't the mom holding a baby not have a Glock in the other hand? Like that's very possible. Like everybody was strapped in that house, so it's like
Yeah.
But I know this was like a huge issue for the ATF. Like they got a shit ton of flack for this. Like this is like a horrible like they could have just waited for him to fucking go down to like his PO box to get his mail and like just
Run out of
arrest
food.
him. Yeah, arrest him there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So with the second Weaver dead, chaos ensued as Harris and the Weavers settled in.
It insured.
Yes, that was a typo.
I got
ensued-
insurance on them. I'm fine.
So
Big
in the
payout.
cabin, confirming everything Randy thought about the government and how evil they were. Also, you have to think like I think it was like 3 days.
The
Never mind.
standoff?
No, we'll get into this later. It was like 11 days.
What?
Yeah. So at this time, protesters started to show up, and their fire only grew as they learned about the deaths of 14-year-old Sammy and the wife Vicky holding a baby as she was killed. The FBI was out of ideas and decided to call in the big guns, special forces,
John
officer,
Cena
or soldier, Bo Gritz. Now, this article doesn't say this, but I would assume that like Gritz and Randy knew each other through special forces, like maybe they served together.
Oh, smart.
Or at least it's like someone who can like understand like the mental state of someone who spent time in special forces. But in my mind, I was like, oh yeah, maybe they knew each other. So
I'm like
on
picturing.
August-
I'm just picturing for any of my Resident Evil fans out there. Like I'm picturing like
Oh, yeah.
Krauser and Leon Kennedy, because Krauser wears a beret in that game in Resident Evil 4, and they both were like in the army together, and like you know, they called him Leon, and they're like, Leon Krauser's gone crazy.
Yeah, keep going. What happens next?
What are you buying? What are you selling? There you go.
Is
That's
that the
from my
guy that
RE4
has-
heads.
The guy has like the trench coat with all the trinkets.
He's got trinkets, all right.
He's got trinkets. So on August 30th, Gritz convinced Weaver to give up the critically injured Harris and allow Vicky's body to be removed from the cabin, which I think her body was in there for like 3 days with like her kids and her husband and their friend. But Weaver and his surviving family, including the infant daughter, would remain inside. They would not come out. Time was running out.
And
for Weaver.
they're both wounded too.
Yeah, he's been shot in the arm, but Harris left. Harris got taken out
Really?
because he needed like medical treatment immediately, I think, or he's gonna die. So time was running out for Weaver as the FBI were getting ready to stop playing nice and carpet bomb the whole forest. No, that's not what they're gonna do. I just like the term carpet bomb.
Well, I believed you. I was
But they're just
I'm like, I heard they fucked this up pretty bad.
No, so they were just basically like, all right, if they don't give up soon, we're just like, we are going in, we're taking them out, and we're ending this. Like, no more like playing safe and like trying to negotiate. They're gonna go in and kill them.
What was this all for? Selling sawed-off shotguns?
No, this was simply because he had a warrant for his arrest, and he didn't want to. He just wanted to like
'Cause he
live
didn't
his own life.
He didn't show up to court, and they like fucking
But his like probation officer didn't tell him the right date, which is part of the reason why I wonder, because like the FBI had like a file on him, and I wonder if they got involved and were like, hey, tell him the wrong date so we can at least nail him for like missing court date, and then we can like investigate more kind of thing. So like part of me thinks it
seemed
was
like
like
they knew-
like an inside job.
Yeah, it seemed like they knew that like he was a dangerous person who had a lot of guns in his house. I'm like, why didn't you just wait for him to literally leave his house, catch him with like his pants down, and just be like, "You're under arrest. We got you." You know what I mean? Like,
I don't think he ever left his fucking house.
he had to get his mail.
He didn't. He didn't want. What mail is he collecting?
Oh, I thought you said he collected mail because he was sending out fucking threats to Reagan.
No, I don't know how or when. I don't know if like on his way out of the military he like threatened Reagan. I don't know if that was
like,
before or after.
One more thing.
That guy's gonna fucking die.
You're fucking dead, asshole. He's like
Go
on the
back and play a
graduation
cowboy.
stage.
Go back to your
He's on the
cowboy movies.
He's on the graduation stage in his fucking his cap and gown. I'm gonna fucking kill that guy. And he's pointing
He was
to
a college dropout though, Kanye.
That's right.
Yeah.
uh,
So the FBI were like, oh yeah, we're just gonna go and take him out. At this point, Grits was sent back to the cabin the morning of August 31st. Even though Randy vowed to die before giving himself up, Grits convinced Randy to leave peacefully, and he did.
Wow.
Grits escorted Randy and his daughters out of the cabin, and Randy was immediately arrested, and his surviving children were handed over to relatives, which is nice. And the siege of Ruby Ridge was finally over. So, despite everything that happened in those 11 days, Randy was only convicted on failing to appear for his trial on his original weapon charges.
Oh my God.
They dropped everything else, and Harris, after surviving, was cleared of any and all charges.
Well, it's because like the ATF fucked that up so like monumentally bad that
They
I think
never
they're like
once yelled like, "Hey, it's the police! Come out!" Like they were just watching him, and then they killed his dog, and then his son killed one of them, and then they killed his son, and it just like spiraled.
they're like
it was too far gone.
How do we arrest this paranoid man? Should we hide in his toilet?
Should we hide in the walls?
How about this? When he's taking a shit, we'll grab his dick and we'll pull it real hard. He won't be able to stand up.
We'll scream ding dong.
I'll disguise myself as a turd. They'll never see it coming. Oh no, I'm being flushed. Avenge me.
So the Department of Justice found many issues with how the situation was handled, such as Horichi's actions as a sniper. In 1970 or 1997, Horichi was charged with manslaughter for shooting unarmed baby-carrying Vicky Weaver in the face. But the judge threw it out, stating that a federal agent should not be charged for actions taken when in the line of duty, which is it's fair. I mean, it's
a
lose-lose.
There's context
like,
to everything, you know.
Yeah. Like, it's just a shitty situation. So the U.S. government paid a price for this, as in 1995, Randy Weaver and his 3 daughters were awarded $3.1 million in the loss of Sammy and Vicky Weaver.
That's it? More. That's like
Yeah,
five.
but that's also 95.
Yeah, so that's like $6 million.
Yeah, probably. And in 2022, Randy Weaver passed away at the age of 47.
What?
Yeah.
In 2022?
Sorry, 74. I'm dyslexic tonight. I've been reading all the numbers backwards. I don't know what the fuck is going on.
Wait, he died at the age of 74. Okay, I was going to be like, how
Yes.
the fuck old was he when he did this? I was like, oh my God, he was like 18 and his son was 14. What's going on?
No, sorry. I don't know. I've been struggling with numbers tonight. I don't know what's going on with me. So yeah,
He had a
was
Randy
74.
Wiener when he was 4 years old. Okay, sorry.
So yeah, according to his daughter who posted on Facebook, he passed away. They did not include or make public like what he passed away from.
His daughter carved it into a tree. That's their social media.
No, but so like till today, his kids, at least one of his daughters, is still pretty like active with like sharing their story. And I think like they have like an Instagram account that's like Ruby Ridge Official, and it's just like they spread awareness and just basically talk shit on the U.S. government still.
They just got all that. They got that Ruby Ridge money.
Oh yeah.
Damn.
Oh God. All right, we got to end this. The dog is barking.
the dog heard.
What the?
The dog heard the story about the dog dying, and now the dog freaking out.
What is he doing?
Jesus. There might be a man
don't
in a
think-
ghillie. There's a man in a ghillie suit in your backyard. There's a man in a ghillie suit in your backyard.
What in the fuck is he? I've never heard him bark this long.
Cat. Dog. Another cat. Okay. Well, I think that concludes the episode for today. So thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening. We love telling the stories, and we love when you stick around and listen to them. We're back. We are so back. And yeah, if you guys want any more information, go to Cam Strange Podcast on Instagram.
Holter, say something to him.
He's gonna sniff that fucking mic.
I hope that came up.
Yeah, go to Cam Strange Podcast on Instagram. Click link in bio for everything you need there. Merch, rate, review, whatever the fuck you want to do. Doesn't matter. Just stay out of my backyard and don't shoot my dog. Yeah. Anyway, David, do you have anything to say before we get the hell out of here?
Educate yourself and go vote. Your vote matters.
Hey, look at
Be
that.
an American citizen. I guess not everybody. I don't care what country you're in. If you got an election coming up, vote. It's your power. It's your duty.
Yeah, duty. Anyway.
Yeah. Go vote. Yeah.
And don't forget to stay strange.